had been working in a variety of situations. I'd been freelance for a long time, had worked for Theatre Workshop in Edinburgh for a couple of years, and then somebody suggested that maybe I would be interested in Birds of Paradise. So yeah, went for it, and that was the start of a long journey. For me, there's a couple of things. One being a kind of commitment to human rights, and I always thought that should go through whatever Birds of Paradise were doing. And so that idea that all people are free and equal was something that, you know, I still believe in, and actually think we all have a responsibility to do whatever we can to ensure that that is realised and that it's not just an ideal. But on top of that, my first job ever on leaving uni was to work with Sense Scotland, and that gave me, and that was when that was a very young, very, very young organisation, and so things were really, you know, they were such a small organisation at that time that they were working in partnership with another larger organisation. Place I worked, we were, you know, there were some people who had been misdiagnosed all their lives, and we were taking them out of psychiatric hospitals, and we were really coming to understand what some of the issues for deafblind people were. It wasn't a commonly understood condition or even diagnosis. I mean, back in the day, that would be late 80s. Yeah. And so working in a very hands-on role there just made me appreciate that whole idea, which I guess I'd read about because I was always interested, because I had studied theatre and was interested in, at one point, in drama therapy, but I had decided that it wasn't really for me. But in that kind of reading and understanding, I had learned about Grey Eye, and particularly the work of Nabil Shaban. And that very early text of his is quite informative in terms of social model of disability. And then, of course, working with people my own age who were deafblind, and realising the barriers that society actually had to them and to their fulfilment, really, kind of, I guess, embedded all that into who I am. The start of a change, I think that's what was important, that it was starting to become, people were not wanting to put people in boxes. You know, you could see that change happening, you know, whether it was through following the kind of funding trajectory that we got, or through working in schools, or through actually not just audiences, but being a touring company as well. Other institutions like bed and breakfast places that would be more, well, not accepting, that's the wrong word, but, you know, would be less fazed by 3 people in a wheelchair in their hotel or whatever. So those small societal changes, yeah, I guess I have seen those. I'm sure there's still plenty that can be done and plenty that should be done. I used to always say that there shouldn't be a need for Birds of Paradise, you know, but until every theatre company in Scotland or the UK is casting inclusively, then there will be a need for it, you know. But it's a bit like, you know, Oxfam or any of these big NGOs, they actually should be working for their own closure, because they shouldn't really need to exist. But obviously the point at which that's right to happen is maybe a way away yet. We toured into Europe one year, and that was very interesting, just because of different attitudes and different expectations. Yeah, and it wouldn't be right either to say that, you know, oh, the UK is so advanced in its thinking, because that's clearly not true. One of the most inspiring women I met was a puppeteer who ran her company and used a wheelchair. And she lived in a high-rise flat, and the lift only stopped on alternate floors and not on the one that she was in. And, you know, we're talking of a kind of brutalist, sort of Stalinist era architecture. Yeah, but did that stop her? No. And yeah, she was great. Sveti is her name. Hardcore. And very, very sweet as well. But I suppose another example might be, you know, as well as doing kind of workshop work and developmental work in the schools, we did take shows into school. And I remember one occasion, and I'll never forget this, that after it was a performance of, I still want to call it Spider Girls. Beneath you, Spider Girls are everywhere. And, you know, so there's a lot of movement in that, and Claire Cunningham was one of the performers. And after the show, we had a kind of deep, brief discussion with the children in the audience, and a few of them said, oh, she really is disabled. They thought that Claire must have been a non-disabled person pretending, because that was all they ever saw. And for them to realise that no, she has an impairment was kind of a switch moment for some of them. Just in terms of, well, she's out there, she's doing it. Maybe I could do something interesting too. I think what a lot of disabled performers would say is, I don't want to just have the part as the wheelchair user and casualty. I want to be one of the doctors. And I think maybe that's changing tiny, but we're maybe talking about one performer here and there. You know, I think we're a long way yet from, yeah, you know, a genuinely diverse, you know, portrayal of society on TV or in film. And I think that, you know, obviously that goes in disability. I think, you know, you can discuss the same topic in race and gender as well, you know. I think they're crucial. I think they need to be there because disabled voices need to be at that table, and the artistic table, and I'm not sure how else they're going to be there if they weren't for companies like Birds of Paradise.